Let's start with the question. Can you only get the same science once? I've been playing KSP for a while, and can land on the Mun, Minmus, etc. But one thing I've never been able to find a clear answer to is, can I only get the same science one time? For example, when starting KSP career mode, one thing I've done is strap like 8 science goo pods to my simple rocket and just open all 8. While in orbit, do I therefore get the 8 sciences for that trip? Or does it only count one of them, making the 7 extras superfluous? Or, when I land on the Mun, if I only have one goo pod, and I collect that science, AFAIK I can't ever get many science points from doing that again. This leads me to think I'd better go big or go home when doing almost anything for the first time. My main reason for asking is, why set up a science station on the Mun if I only ever get the science goo one time, or the science bay points one time? At that point, is it just to build neat things to orbit Kerbin, but don't have any practical purpose? Don't get me wrong, I love the game, I'm just curious about how science works broadly. So how can we solve this? There's one possible answer. Answer 1. You can only get the same science once, even if you bring 8 goo containers. This will not show when doing experiments until that science is returned though. But you still get the science only once, even with multiple experiments. There are 2 minor exceptions to the once rule. If you transmit science, you can still get the difference between transmit value and recover value by recovering it. Surface sample, goo container and materials bay get a tiny bit of science on the second and third tests. But those are seriously diminishing returns. And then there is the mobile processing lab, which is probably what you are looking for. The lab takes experiments in the form of data. So those can be experiments which already produce 0 science for you. Then, it needs electricity and scientists. And over a fairly long time produces science from that data. The kind of science you can actually use. The lab also produces more science on the hard-to-reach bodies. Especially if you use local experiments for it. At least according to the KSP wiki. I have not personally tested this part. So this is the reason to set up science stations. KSP wiki link for the lab, for convenience, http://wiki. kerbal-space-program. com, wiki, mobile_processing_lab_mplLG2. I hope this answer helped, and if it did, please drop a comment and subscribe.